This is very, have you ever watched Zach Galifianakis Between Two Ferns?
I have.
Yeah, this is what this feels like.
Well, have you got a fan over there?
I don't. Liverpool club, but all right. Welcome.
Thank you.
I guess the news that we're supposedly breaking on this episode of MTM Radio is Coach Tahlia is now one of the newest coaches, or the newest coach of the MTM team.
Yeah.
We're very excited to have you.
I'm excited to be here.
And it's been coming for a couple of months, and we're finally ready to release you off into the nutrition wilderness.
Kick me out of the nest.
Correct. Start to have some positive impact on the community. Before we start, there's no right or wrong. So I don't know if you feel more comfortable looking at the camera or here, whatever. But yeah, mate, welcome.
Thank you.
Like I said, it's been a couple of months coming, and we're excited to have you on board. And I think a big part for me and Kat in growing the team is always trying to impact as many people as we can. And we're only limited to be able to do that with so many people, just the two of us. So it's hard to find people that relate to the message and buy into the message and live the message. And we think that you're one of those people, obviously. Yeah. So hey, welcome. Tell us, you've got a nursing background.
I do.
You've been doing that for a little while.
Yes, so I'm a critical care nurse, and I have been working in an emergency department here in Melbourne for the past 5 years, coming up 6 years maybe, I think. But through COVID, yep, and kind of taking a step back from that at the moment. I think COVID did have a lot to do with that, in kind of reevaluating what I wanted to do and where I wanted to be, and finding new avenues to explore and new ways to help people. So yeah, taking a step back and exploring nutrition coaching, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah. How did you get into nursing? Why nursing?
I've always loved working with people, helping people, teaching, like any kind of education, empowerment. I really enjoyed. Also really enjoyed learning about the human body. I think it's like the most fascinating thing, how the body works, all its systems. It's like so intricate and it's so incredible. So I went through everything when I was younger. Like, I wanted to be a radiologist. I wanted to be a physio. I think I did look into doing the GAMSAT at one point to go into medicine. I eventually actually settled on paramedicine. So it was kind of, knuckling down, trying to study and get into paramedicine at uni. And then unfortunately, year 12, I got quite unwell, and that made me have to stay close at home for uni for the next year. And home is Warrnambool. They didn't have a paramedicine, country girl. They didn't offer paramedicine down at that uni. So went in, was like, I'll just start with nursing, I'll transfer across. And just kind of loved nursing and never moved across. There was so many different avenues that you could go into. Just so many different options, and I loved that. I love having options with what I want to do, a bit of freedom, so that you're not always stuck in the one thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, stuck it out, and yeah, still here, and then continued studying nursing for 6 years later. So I've been studying it forever.
Yeah.
And still very interesting. Still do love the base of the job and what it's about, and still helping people. But as I said, through COVID, it's just not the same as what it used to be, and it just takes its toll eventually. So
I think that kind of critical care background is super useful. I think you're going to find it, and not just that it's super useful for knowledge for your general population clients, but also quite a big amount of the community that we have is shift workers and nurses and first responders. And I think that relatability that you can have with your clients, like it's easy to say, I understand theoretically shift work and its impacts. It's so much easier to say, I know exactly what it feels like. Like I've been there, I can relate.
For sure. And that is something that I have had to navigate. And just night shift, people don't understand the toll that it's not just the shift that you do, it's planning meals around sleeping if you want to optimize your sleep so that you can do a week of night shift and not just come out of it and absolutely crash for the following week afterwards. So learning to optimize nutrition around your shifts is actually such an underestimated tool, and yeah, I've really tried to play with that the last few years and kind of enjoyed it as well.
It's always funny to me, the nutrition practices, but within like health, right? They do like working within health, like working with hospitals.
Yeah.
And you typically see the standard of food or the quality of food or the items of food that are served to patients that are recovering.
It's not good.
Yeah. Or even, you know, like nurses' stations themselves, like typically just filled with like chocolate, like lollies, candy, like all that quick and go sugar fix, just whatever it takes to get through like that night shift kind of culture.
Exactly. Like it doesn't happen anymore because COVID, we're not allowed to have shared food, which is unfortunate.
Is that still a thing? Really?
Yeah. We're not even allowed to have our drink bottles on the floor.
Yeah.
So which doesn't help because you never get a chance to drink water and 12-hour shift. It's just not good. But yeah, I mean, previous to COVID, on a night shift, there would be food everywhere in the nurses' station.
Yeah.
And you're right, none of it was healthy.
Yeah.
It was all donuts, chips, lollies.
The doctor's trying to say thank you to the nurse, like, here's more donuts, right?
Here's more food. But yeah, you're right. Like the nutrition practices of healthcare workers, we are not always good at practicing what we preach.
Correct. You'll find that with nutrition coaches as well.
Of course, of course. But yeah, it's often because you're so on the go at work and so flat out. It's like, well, the last thing I want to think about is what I'm doing for food. So you just grab something convenient, something quick and easy, and
yeah, it
adds up every time, makes a difference.
The relatability is obviously a super important part of it. Like I remember even when we first started, I would have hesitation about going out for drinks with people from the gym or like going out for dinner with people from the gym because it was like I felt like there was this particular image or this role that I was supposed to play, and it's like, oh, if I'm happy to come out drinking, like if I'm always an ambassador of the brand that we're trying to start, like how does that,
for sure,
you know, that conflicts. And what I found is like that kind of stuff actually makes you more relatable as a human being, right? And we don't expect perfection 100% of the time from our clients, so I would expect it from ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think I get those questions so often now, like more people are learning that I'm taking on this role. It's like, oh, I was going to go up to the cafe and get something for lunch. Like, should I get the pizza? Get the pizza. Like, just don't make a habit of doing it every single day. But, you know, if you've had a particularly shitty shift as well, like, and that's going to make you happy, get the pizza.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not the be all and end all, but yeah, and I feel like still people will see my breakfast. Pretty much my breakfast every morning is oats with some kind of fruit topped off with chopped chips. And every morning they're like, oh my God, do you have chocolate?
Chopped chips. Yeah, it's like the one thing we get very fixated, don't we?
Yeah.
Do you think was COVID the catalyst for you in nursing to be like until COVID happened, did you have the idea of like nursing or eventually going back into like paramedicine? Was that the trajectory and it was COVID that sort of like changed that? Or do you think you were getting to a point where you were like, maybe I can have a more impactful presence elsewhere within that?
A bit of both. So I actually, after I got into nursing, kind of just completely washed my hands of the idea of paramedicine, never really looked back at that.
I can see you as a paramedic.
I think I would enjoy it. The structure of the job is very different, and I learned to love the teamwork that comes with nursing in a big team, like in emergency. So it's like, that's really, really cool. So to then step out and be that first responder with only a couple of people was pretty daunting. And I think I just kind of was like, you know what, I love my job at the moment. If it come back up and was something I was interested in down the track, I could have done it as well. But I think I was pretty keen to go into a teaching role in nursing. So I had done some more study, kind of like watched the educators around and thought, how do I get to this point? Because I've taken on students before and, like I said, just love teaching and love seeing the little wins that people have and knowing that, like, if you've had a little part in that, like, that's really cool. But was always interested in health and fitness as well. Had done a couple of little things on the side, like very little courses that don't really amount to much, but just to educate myself.
Yeah, give you a little bit more information.
And then through COVID, I think everything just escalated where it kind of got to a point of, is this actually what I want to keep doing? Like, I got really burnt out, but I didn't realize that I was really burnt out for quite some time. And just kind of started questioning my path because it came to a crossroads with my further study of choosing an avenue that I wanted to go down. And that was always
specialization, you mean?
Yeah. And that was always very clear that I was going to go down the education pathway. But all of a sudden, it wasn't clear anymore. I was like, oh, like this doesn't sound as appealing anymore, but this one also doesn't sound good. And it was, just got to a point where I was like, I don't actually think this is what I want to be putting my time and energy into anymore, it was a really hard realization.
Yeah.
Because when you have invested so much time and energy and you get to that point where you're just like, well, I'm a nurse, this is my career, this is what I do kind of thing. But sat on it for a while and I actually enrolled in my fitness certs. So like cert 3, 4.
Yeah.
And it was advanced nutrition 1, strength and conditioning, all of those back in, I think that was June that I enrolled in those, but was still continuing nursing.
Yeah.
So I had no intention of quitting at that point. And then, I remember having a conversation with, it's actually my sister one day about one of her kids who was quite unwell. And I came out of that conversation feeling really fatigued and like I just had no more compassion to give. And it was almost just in that moment that I was like, no, like I need to change and help people in other ways outside of the hospital. Stop being with people, probably sounds really bad, but stop being with people purely on their worst days, but find a way to be with people and help them on their best days as well.
Yeah.
And it has absolutely helped my mindset and the burnout because I am still nursing and I'm still averaging 2 shifts a week and I'm enjoying it so much more now that I'm also seeing the flip side of having positive experiences with people, not only the negative.
Yeah.
So COVID definitely helped me get to that point. I think the point of me changing careers or branching out would have come anyway. I've just kind of come to this point a lot sooner.
So hopefully no more night shifts.
Have not done night shift now for 4 months.
Yeah.
I think. And it's the best.
Yeah.
It's the best. No more night shift.
That was, funnily enough, when we started MTMM, that was our first goal. Was like, grow the business big enough that like Kat can stop working nights.
Yeah.
That was the first goal.
And you know what, actually, like meeting Kat and talking to Kat about her ICU. Was she ICU? No, she was crit care and cardiac.
ICU cardiac.
Talking to her about that, I was like, oh, Kat was a nurse and she's doing something else. Like, why am I limiting myself and like putting myself just in a box of this is what I am now?
Yeah.
So I think that really also like got me thinking and I feel super passionate about health and fitness. Why not do something else in it?
I think coming in from that nursing background, like I said before, I've learned more about nutrition and bio and biomed and how the human body works, more from just being in a room and listening to Kat, more than I've learned from any of my certifications or qualifications. And I think the thing that's been really quite useful, which is probably something competitively that no one else really has, is you guys have that incredible knowledge about also like biochemistry and medications. And so when we do get a lot of clients that come in with, low grade, even just low grade, like medications that they're on, I think a lot of quite, typical personal trainers or nutritionists don't necessarily have like that kind of knowledge to be like, oh, we really have to watch a reaction from this kind of food with that kind of medication and stuff like that. And so that obviously part of our intake process is quite thorough, and a lot of that our practices have stemmed from Kat's like nursing. So I think when we approached you and you were quite receptive to coming on, that background, it might be one of those things where it's like, you thought this was going to be it, but actually we're just getting you prepared to come on here and be part of the team.
And like that's one of the first things I thought when I went through the initial intake with Kat. I was like, wow, like I do this every day at work. Like
it's all just triage.
It's just triaging people, and like the value of knowing how the kidneys work in response to different stimulus and what that does to your blood pressure. So then in turn, like having a client who's maybe struggled with high blood pressure before, watching that come down and like actually knowing how much of a win that is just from like a physiological standpoint is, you're right, like something that not a lot of other people will like truly understand the effects that has on the body.
Yeah.
So it definitely helps, and
might be something we need to market more, is like ex-nurses. Like, it's not just like nutrition, ex-nurses. Awesome. And is there like a particular or a specific population of people you want to work with? I know we've sort of spoken about wanting to get a nice wide variety across different sports, but is there like, if you had to describe like, this is exactly the kind of person I want to work with, what does that person look like?
To be honest, recently it has been shift workers.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Purely because I have seen the impact of nutrition or lack of nutrition, the impact that has had on so many like of my colleagues and just other people that I know, in terms of skipping meals, not intentionally missing meals because of work, and not fueling properly for shifts because they're just, finishing at 10 p.m. one night, starting at 7 a.m. the next morning, and then next minute it's been 24 hours and they haven't eaten a proper meal. So I think educating people around that and behaviors and like prepping is so important. And if you can just do these little like 1%ers every day to maximize what you are doing, it has such an impact. And like I said, that's something that I've learned over my 5 years of nursing in varied shifts, and it has definitely made a difference. So yeah, I think shift workers would be a really cool one to work with. Again, the relatability. And then I think just your general everyday kind of recreational athlete who just wants to get that 1% better, wants to improve a little bit in the gym, who, are trying to navigate all these different things and ask questions.
All the information about food that's out there.
Exactly.
And how to decipher it.
There's so much. And, in the last 10 years, I've tried just about every diet protocol you can do or that's advertised out there. And, like the one that works for you is the one that works for you. There's no one size fits all thing. So if I could help people to filter all that information and navigate that and maybe learn a little bit quicker than I did, then that's a win.
Yeah, that's what I always say. I'm just trying to save you a decade of mistakes that I made.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. Athletically, what's your background? What are your passions? Obviously a very keen and avid CrossFitter now. Obviously drinking the Kool-Aid. It's actually CrossFit Kool-Aid in the true CrossFit.
I have honestly tried everything and everything. So when I was a kid, I played a lot of basketball. I played netball for like nearly 20 years, a long time. Gymnastics, like I was on all the sports teams at school, like T-ball. I played cricket at one point. Which,
there you go.
No. I raced a little dirt car for a number of years. So anything that I could be competitive at, I was trying to get my hand in. I probably then got more competitive when I was 18. I think I got into boxing.
Yeah.
Did boxing for quite a while, did a few just kind of in-house comps. Really love that. And that's probably where I learned the value of nutrition and nutrition timing the most. Was trying to like kind of get a one-up and be like, how can I get around this? So I think did boxing for probably 6 years, and then more recently found CrossFit. Well, started CrossFit. I've been watching it for a while and always loved watching, like, oh my god, so much admiration for like the dedication and the abilities of the athletes. But didn't start it until 6 months ago. And I started, and now I love it.
Is Blackburn your first affiliate, your first box?
Well, no, I did start at another gym mid-COVID.
Okay.
So it was very inconsistent because I think I was only there for a week and then they were back in lockdown.
Yeah.
And then maybe back for like another 2 weeks and then lockdown again. So I never really got any consistency in it. So I would say Blackburn's my first proper CrossFit gym. It's the first one where I've actually been able to be coached through the movements and see proper progress.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There you go.
Oh, thank you. It's all you.
Thank you.
You weren't even coaching when I first started, so.
Oh, I was in the wheelchair.
I think you'd like just on your knees. So
9 months. That's me. 9 months. Probably more likely to see you in the ER than I was to see you in the box.
I know.
All right, awesome. So for any shift workers that are out there that want to get it dialed in, want to speed up their recovery between night shifts and still maximize their time in the gym,
absolutely,
Tahlia's the one to come and see.
Come my way, I'd love to help.
Beautiful. So you are now taking on clients officially.
Yeah.
So what I'll do is I'll pop a link to your calendar in all the descriptions for this. So if anyone listening does want to come in and have a chat to you and suss it out and see what it's all about, then they can book straight in with you.
Excellent.
Thank you for sitting down with me.
Very welcome.
Welcome again to the team. We're very excited to have you on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a really good end of the year and a really good 2023 for us.
Christmas party.
Correct. Yeah, it's the best time to start. 1 month in and straight to the Christmas party.
Perfect.
Although there's only 3 of us in the state now, so
we're in the country.
Yeah, exactly right.
Cool. Look forward to it.
All right. Thanks, Dallas.
No worries. Cool. I don't know how long that was.
That's 20 minutes. Beautiful.
Love that.
Easy. The problem I have with the recording is because I have a mustache, everything on YouTube is like time capsuled. So it's like we'll look back, or I'll send clients videos from like when we first were doing like introductory concepts and stuff like that with Maggie, and it's like I look like 29, like the hair's like no grays, like no kids, no worries, and it's where upstairs my mom's who just moved back from Canada, and then it's like through the ages, all the haircuts come through. So now this one's gonna have a mustache. So anybody watching, I apologize, but it's not too late to donate to my November cause either.